All right, today we are diving into something really fascinating and honestly a little mysterious. The idea that the human body is a living, breathing electrical system. We're going to be exploring some really intricate charts that try to map out these unseen energies, so let's just jump right in.
So, let's start with the big question that's really at the heart of all this. Is your body a wireless circuit? The material we're looking at today makes a pretty bold claim that yes, it is. It argues that we have our own currents, our own fields, and our own power centers. Okay, so this complex picture right here, this is basically our map for today's journey. It's one of many attempts throughout history by thinkers and mystics to chart the body's unseen energies. Let's try to walk through their interpretation of this invisible architecture.
All right, first up, let's zoom all the way out and look at the biggest picture. This all-encompassing energy field that these sources say surrounds each and every one of us, almost like our own personal atmosphere. So what exactly is this human energy field? Well, according to the material we're looking at, it's an electromagnetic field that basically radiates from our body. Think of it as the combined energy of every single cell, all working together. And here's the crucial part. This field is believed to be constantly changing based on what's going on inside us, our thoughts and our feelings.
So if we have this huge energy field, what's the engine driving it? Get ready for this number, because it is just wild. The source material claims the heart's magnetic field is up to 5,000 times stronger than the brain's. This suggests that from an energetic point of view, the heart isn't just a pump, it's the most powerful electromagnetic generator in our entire body.
And that leads us to this really cool idea about a relationship between our thoughts and emotions. The thinking here is that our thoughts create an electrical charge, while our emotions create a magnetic one. When you put them together, they form this electromagnetic signature that's totally unique to you, and it's constantly broadcasting your internal state out into the world.
Okay, so we've got the big picture, this field around us. Now, let's zoom in a bit and look at what these diagrams called the power stations, the things that regulate this whole system.
Now this is where things get really interesting. Take a look at these two images side by side. On the left, you've got a traditional diagram of the chakra system. On the right, a medical illustration of our nervous system. The parallel is, well, it's pretty striking, right? The locations of these major chakras seem to line up almost perfectly with major nerve plexuses, big bundles of nerves, in our body. It kind of makes you wonder if ancient wisdom was describing the same thing, just using a different language. So what are chakras, anyway? According to these sources, they're basically spinning whirlpools or wheels of energy. The idea is that they act like little transformers, pulling in energy from some kind of universal field and then distributing it throughout the body to help manage everything from our physical health to our emotions. And you'll notice they're all lined up right along a central channel that runs up the spine. The chart we're looking at calls this the path of the core energy. It's like the main superhighway for this subtle energy, with 5 of these centers in the torso and another 2 up in the head. All right, next up, we're going to trace the flow. How does all this energy actually move through the body? Let's explore what these diagrams call the intricate wireless circuits. Whoa, okay. I know this chart looks incredibly complicated at first glance, but don't worry. We're just going to pull out a couple of the main ideas here. What it's trying to do is map the specific pathways of these so-called electromagnetic waves and currents as they loop and flow through and around our bodies. One of the most interesting things on this chart is this quote right here. It directly references the caduceus. You know, that ancient symbol of 2 snakes spiraling around a staff? It's using that image as a metaphor for a dual current of energy that spirals around the spine, sending out a vibratory impulse to every single cell. And just like any electrical circuit you've ever heard of, this whole system is built on the idea of polarity, positives and negatives. But what's really interesting is that these sources say the polarities aren't fixed. They actually switch at key joints, like your wrists and ankles, and this is supposedly what keeps the energy moving in one continuous dynamic loop. Okay, so we've talked about the field, the power centers, and the circuits. But what does it all mean for us in our daily lives? This last part really ties it all together. It suggests there's a direct link between our state of mind and the health of this entire system. And this chart lays it out pretty clearly, side by side. On one side, you've got a high vibration state. The source connects this to positive thoughts and emotions and says it acts like a protective shield for your health. Then on the other side, you've got a low vibration state, which is linked to negative feelings and is suggested to make a person more vulnerable to getting sick. So what's the takeaway?
Well, the idea is that you're not just a passenger here. You can actually influence your own energy field. The source gives a whole list of advice for keeping what it calls a high vibratory rate. Some of it's pretty familiar, like positive thinking, and some is a bit more specific, like meditating under trees and practicing grounding every day.
So after looking at all these incredible maps of the body electric, the main idea really comes into focus. Our inner world might just be shaping our energetic reality. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. If our thoughts and feelings really are the architects of our energy, what is your mind building today?